And I am sitting on the gurney, and I'm able to look into the room and watch them work on John. And he's lying there on a bed, and he's surrounded by medical staff, and all his clothes are off. And I just remember there being a lot of blood.
What we found was that all of the blood vessels that left the heart, the aorta and all of its branches, had been destroyed. We tried to find a place where we could stop the bleeding. I literally held John Lennon's heart in my hand and I massaged it to try to get his heart going again. We transfused blood, but it was clear with all of the vessels destroyed, there would be absolutely nothing that we could do that evening. About 11:10 to 11:15 that evening, we pronounced John Lennon dead. I think every one of us in the room that evening suddenly realized what we were doing, where we were, and who we were dealing with. A lot of people began to cry. We reminded the staff to be certain not to say anything to anybody until appropriate press announcement had been made. We told the staff that they couldn't sell their uniforms that might be bloodstained. We made certain that all the linens and all the equipment in the room was secured and that the medical record was tightly secured.
And then suddenly, out of virtually every door to the emergency room, security officers came running in, and they said, "You, lay down." I said, "No, I'm quite happy here." Just lay down. Because apparently the ABC story had been reported by that point. So I laid down, they took the gurney, and they took me out of the emergency room, and they put me in another room right outside the emergency room.
It was at that point that I understood I needed to walk down the hallway and speak to Yoko Ono. As I did, I remembered that I was taking care of Alan Weiss, an ABC news director, and he had been laying on a stretcher right outside of the resuscitation room, but the stretcher was empty.
The hospital plays Muzak, and the song that comes up on the Muzak is All My Loving. The song ends a minute, 2 minutes later, there's a shriek. No, no, oh no, oh no.
Her first response was immediate. It's not true, you're lying, it can't be, I don't believe you. In my mind, it literally felt like this was going on for about 5 minutes. She was laying on the floor, she was hitting her head against the floor. I put my hands behind her head to try to prevent damage to her. Yoko Ono was incredibly emotional for quite some time. And in fact, it was when one of the nurses brought in John Lennon's wedding ring and gave it to me and I gave it to her when she accepted the fact that her husband was in fact dead. And I was touched by the first thing that she said. Because what she said was, "My son Sean is still awake. He's probably sitting in front of the TV set. Please delay making the announcement 20 to 25 minutes so I can get home and make certain that I tell him what happened before he sees it on TV."
The doctor who first saw me comes in and says, "All right, Alan, let's continue with you." I go, "Hold on, Doc. What's the story with John? Is he alive? Is he dead? Is he paralyzed?" I mean, I saw it looked like a lot of blood. And she said, "I can't tell you anything. There's going to be a press conference in 40 minutes. And I said, "Let me ask you a question." I said, "You're one of the main doctors there, right?" She said, "Yes." I said, "If someone was brought in with a gunshot, it's only been 15, 20 minutes. If the person were alive, wouldn't you still be needed?" She said, "That's an accurate assumption." I said, "Okay." I said, "I got to get to a telephone."